Yeah, Trevor gave you a thumbs
Okay.
up.
All righty, we're going to get started with Board of County Commissioners of Rio Blanco County, Colorado, at the Rio Blanco County Annex Building, 17497 Highway 64 in Rangeley, Colorado. This meeting will be streamed live on the RBC YouTube channel. This is a tentative agenda for March 28, 2023 at 11:01. This is a preliminary tentative agenda, which includes all information available as of March 27th, 2023. The final tentative agenda has been posted at www.rbc.us and physically at the RBC Historic Courthouse, 555 Main Street, Meeker, Colorado, and at the Rangeley Town Hall, 209 East Main Street, Rangeley, Colorado. The first line item is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Line item B, public comment period. Any member of the public may address the board on matters which are within the jurisdiction of the board. If you are addressing the board regarding a matter listed on the agenda, you're requested to limit your comments to 3 minutes per member or 5 minutes per group. The public comment time is not for questions and answers. It is time to express your views. To ensure there is adequate public comment time, please provide your name and address prior to the meeting by contacting the board assistant at 970-878-9683. If any member of the public would like to comment at this time, please state your name and address for the record. Thank you. Do we have any public comments? Anybody on the phone?
I'm checking to see where they are. They should be here any second, I think.
A group?
Pardon?
A group?
Yeah, it'll be Michaela.
What was it? Board of Health?
Yeah.
That'll be later.
Oh.
Yep, I think it's after
Lunch, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's after
that.
our executive session. So it'll probably be closer to 11:30 or so. Okay. So we're moving on to line item C. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, line item O under new business. We'll add, move to ratify a letter of support to Lauren Boebert for Trust the Science.
I'll second that.
Or, well, that's just
What we're at?
what we're adding.
Okay.
And then
Anything else?
There could be, Sean was discussing whether they should remove that designation as the elected official.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly, the elected official of a coordinated election in the county is the clerk and recorder, and I've never seen the commissioners designate, and else there was some reason the clerk and recorder couldn't perform that function. So I'm not sure.
But she is, Sean said that she had went to a training, I think if she's on, she may be on the phone listening, but that needed to be approved by the commissioners for the designated election official. And so that's why she had asked for that to be on there. But so maybe we need to pull that off until the next time.
Yeah, the statute's pretty clear that she is the designated election official for coordinated elections within the county, so.
So we need to remove line item
Either
M.
that or appoint her as the designated election official pursuant to statute. If she needs that for some purpose.
She said that she went back a long ways and couldn't find where it had ever been done, and other counties are doing that, so she felt that it needed to be done, but if we.
You know, and I don't see a problem with doing it, because I mean, she is, as long as you're, consistent with the that she's the coordinated election official for the county for all coordinated elections. I think it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I just saw that this morning, and I've never seen it done in any of my other counties either, so.
And it's just something that they're starting to do now?
No,
From,
she said they've been doing it, but we just never have.
We
That's what
haven't.
she said.
I couldn't find where we'd ever
I don't know that it makes any difference. Things are working fine, but whatever.
Okay,
Yeah, if
So we're
if she
leaving-
thinks she needs it, I think I would leave it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will move to line item C.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve the March 28, 2023 agenda, including the changes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments, discussion about it? Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Gates,
Aye.
Overton,
Hi.
O'Hare.
Aye. Moving on to 2, consent agenda for March 28, 2023, line item A.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve the below listed items of the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Gates,
Aye.
Overton,
Aye.
O'Hare.
Aye. Line item 3, new business, line item A.
Madam Chairman, consideration of an award and agreement for the 2023 Rio Blanco County Fiber Map project with Vetro Inc. Is that supposed to be a motion?
Well, and I guess this, where we are on that is we have given our, they had a contract that they basically had a link to that I didn't like. And so we have talked to them, and I redlined the version of that, and they submitted it back to me, and I haven't had a chance to look at theirs again. So if we are going to do it, then we can do it subject to final legal review. That what you want? Yeah. So we just need to, and I think we're close. I think it's just a matter of going through their changes and my changes. And
So it needs to be a
so
motion.
yeah, we haven't been able to finalize it yet.
so yeah, instead of saying the move to consideration, you can just say move to approve, or,
Yep.
or you don't have to.
All right. Madam Chairman, I move to approve an award and agreement for the 2023 Rio Blanco County Fiber Map project with VETRO Inc., pending Don Stearman's approval.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this? Anything from you, Trevor? No? Okay. All righty. Seeing none, Melissa, will you please call the roll?
O'Hare,
Aye.
Overton,
Aye.
Gates.
Aye.
Moving on to line item B.
Madam Chairman, consideration of an award and agreement for the Piance Creek Weed and Pest District 2023 herbicide hand spraying project with Ebison Environmental Services.
So again, should all of these be
Motion.
motions?
Yeah, they should, it should be all motions. If you want to, well, if you want to bring them up for approval, then you need to make a motion. You
And
can,
why wouldn't we? Is there any reason we wouldn't bring them up for approval?
not that I'm aware of. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys are always have the right to make a motion or not make a motion. If you don't like something, you can always let it die.
So let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we award the agreement for the Piance Creek Weed and Pest District 2023 herbicide hand spraying project with Ebison Environmental Services.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
This one and item C with Osborne Industries, they split the territory because it's such a big space that they all couldn't, one application couldn't do that whole project. So she typically splits that between however many people bid, and this year we only had the 2.
And the county's only a pass-through. We approved the bid awards and then serve as a pass-through fiscal agent. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay.
For just Rio Blanco County, if it's a Garfield County resident, I mean, is it, maybe I'm thinking
It would be within that weed and pest
District.
This is the
weed and
Piance
pest. Okay,
Creek Weed and Pest District.
so it doesn't matter Which
They
county
service
that,
those
that district, gotcha.
individuals. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what their 2 meals go towards paying, is for some of these services. We just are the holder of the contracts and the budget, pretty much.
Anything else?
No. need
Did
to
I second?
You did second
Okay.
it.
We have a motion.
Well, I think you did, because I wrote it down.
Okay, then I did it too, so, okay.
Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Overton,
Aye.
Gates,
Aye.
O'Hairy.
Aye. Moving on to line item C.
Madam Chairman, I move to award an agreement for the Piance Creek Weed and Pest District 2023 herbicide hand spraying project with Osborne Industries.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Gates,
Aye.
O'Hairy,
Aye.
Overton.
Aye.
Moving on to line item D.
Madam Chairman, I move to award an agreement for the public Piance Creek Weed and Pest District 2023 aerial spraying project to Coulter Aviation.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, Melissa, will you please call the roll?
O'Hairy,
Aye.
Overton,
Aye.
Gates.
Aye.
Moving on to line item E.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve a service plan agreement for the 2023 Rio Blanco County printer replacement project.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the printer replacement project?
What is that, Travis?
This is a service agreement for the printers that we've installed already this year for mostly for this project. It's just a service agreement that allows ImageNet to work on them.
So you buy the printers and then you just contract them to keep them going?
It pays for all the ink maintenance on it, so we don't pay that for that separately. We just pay a price per page, and so that's what the contract is for.
Yep. And then they also support it.
Yep.
Support printers so that people could call them. That way, it helps augment our IT staff a little bit.
Good.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? Seeing none, Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Overton,
Aye.
Gates,
Aye.
O'Hairy.
Aye. Moving on to line item F.
Madam Chairman, I'm moved to continue with a solar block lease with White River Electric.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
So we've been working on this for over a year now, and it slipped through the cracks last year.
Yes, it did. So I contacted Carrie, and she gave me the new agreement for this year, and so we should save about $6,000 for the whole year if we go ahead and move forward with it. So you know, put up money up front, but then it credits on your bill every single month. And I think there's about 13 or so different, hold on. 17. There are 17 different accounts that we'll go ahead and enter this agreement for.
Thank you. Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Gates,
Aye.
O'Hairy,
Aye.
Overton.
Aye.
Moving on to line item G.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve a license renewal agreement with Esri for the 2023 through 2026 ELA Enterprise License Agreement.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any conversation around this?
I was going to ask Leaf what that is, but does anybody else know what that is?
It's the GIS stuff that Leaf uses.
Oh.
The GIS software stuff.
Yeah. Esri is the main software that Leaf uses for GIS. It's the ArcGIS program. It's what everyone uses. It helps pull our assessor parcel database and then publish that out to our website and things like that. It also helps us track all of the changes with the assessor's office and all of our GIS, everything, road and bridge, IT,
Dispatch.
everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the main
Yeah.
GIS piece of
Yeah.
software.
Is that gonna help us get by the government handicap
Oh, the
Website.
ADA stuff,
The ADA.
ADA?
no.
No, because it's just the back end kind of data,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So it's just a license in order for us to kind of use that software, I guess. It's
Yeah.
not really the output.
Right.
We would have to manage that for the
Okay.
ADA compliance.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, Melissa, will you please call the roll?
O'Hairn,
Aye.
Overton,
Aye.
Gates.
Aye.
Moving on to line item H.
Madam Chairman, I move to award an agreement with Frontier Paving, Inc. for the 2023 County Road 8 Surface Treatment Project.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any conversation around this? Anything from you, Scott?
Some conversation. This was the paving that we tried to move forward because there was a paving company in town. Well, of course, you know it already, but they actually didn't win the award. So, it was a very competitive bid, within, I think, $50,000 is what the bids came back in, but, it was Frontier out of Rifle that got the bid.
Thank you. Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Overton,
Aye.
O'Hairn,
Aye.
Gates.
Aye.
Moving on to line item I.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve an agreement with Phil Vaughn Construction Management, Inc., PCI, for commercial and industrial plan review on an as-needed basis.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any conversation around this? We talked about this last time. Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Overton,
Aye.
Gates,
Aye.
O'Hairn.
Aye. Moving on to line item J.
Madam Chairman, I move to award an agreement with the town of Rangeley for the 2023 Building Inspector Service Agreement.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any conversation around the building inspector? Seeing none, can you please call the roll, Melissa?
Overton,
Aye.
Gates,
Aye.
O'Hairn.
Aye. Moving on to line item K.
Madam Chairman, I move to ratify a support letter for the Rio Blanco County Water Conservancy District's application for congressionally directed spending for the Wolf Creek Reservoir Project.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any conversation around the support letter? Seeing none, Melissa, will you please call the roll?
O'Hairn,
Aye.
Overton,
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to line item L.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve Rio Blanco County Precinct and Commissioner District lines and instruct the clerk and recorder to submit the shape file to SCORE.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any conversation around this?
That was actually supposed to have been done evidently on the last, prior to the last election. And Sean realized that it had not been done. Boots had requested it on the agenda. We had asked for a map, and then we never got the map. So it was one of those things that we waited on them, and Sean realized that that has not been done, so this brings it current. And basically, none of our lines have changed, I think is what Sean said. In order for it to change, you have to have a pretty big swing. And if there was a big development that went into effect in one district, you could have to reallocate those lines. So that's it.
Thank you. Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Gates,
Aye.
O'Hairn,
Aye.
Overton.
Aye.
Moving on to line item M.
Madam Chairman, I move to appoint and designate the Rio Blanco County Clerk and Recorder as the designated elected official for elections.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Overton,
Aye.
Gates,
Aye.
O'Hairn.
Aye. Moving on to line item N.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve the FFA SF 425 report for the Rangeley Airport fence replacement project.
I'll second that with the correction of FAA.
FAA.
I have a motion and a second. Any conversation around this?
This will be the first of a few reports coming before you guys. The FAA is still reviewing the rest of them to finally close out the Rangeley Airport fence project. It's all done. It's just the paperwork side that needs buttoned up. So you'll see the RFR probably in April, and then a final closeout report probably after that. So hopefully we can get it fully buttoned up for you guys.
Melissa, will you please call the roll?
O'Haron.
Aye.
Overton.
Aye.
Gates.
Aye.
And line item O.
Madam Chairman, I move to ratify a letter of support to Lauren Boebert for the Trust of Science.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any conversation about this letter? So this was a letter that Lauren had requested from county commissioners for hopefully trying to get the wolves delisted at the federal level as an endangered species. So, not that it'll help in Colorado, but
Well, it will. I think it will.
you think it will?
Yeah, if they're
'Cause it'll-
delisted, then that will help the impact of the 10J rule. And, you know, by them being enlisted, if we don't have a 10J rule in place, then CPW nobody can manage the wolves, but if they're delisted, then the 10J rule doesn't become it's not as crucial to have a 10J rule in place prior to wolves being introduced. That makes sense.
So the 10J rule would then be null and void in Colorado, or?
No, it's not as important to have the 10J rule
Okay.
if they're delisted.
Hmm.
With them being listed at a federal level, having the 10J rule in place is crucial prior to them introducing wolves, because if there's an area, we'll just say hypothetically, there's no 10J rule in place and they are listed as they are now federally, and they release them in Rio Blanco County, nobody can manage those wolves. And then when they introduce them or they move into Garfield County, Moffett County, and the 10J rule is in place, then in those areas, wherever those wolves are, they can be managed at that point, but not in Rio Blanco County, even if there is a 10J rule in place, because the wolves were introduced prior to the 10J being in place. There's much.
It gives the state wildlife a bigger set of tools it can use in order to manage the thing, because then we won't have to rely on the federal limitations given the listed on the endangered species.
So if that's the case, let's say they do get delisted, so then does the NEPA process start all over again for what CPW is the draft that they are at?
I don't think that'll start all over. And one, I don't think we're probably going to get it delisted. I think it's something but I don't think it's going to really change that, except for it may give more options, when they're going through the process. It may give more options of control. And that was one of the things that they're looking at, is what can we do locally to control these wolves if, they attack or, start causing havoc, versus what can we do with these wolves if they're no longer delisted, then it become more of a Colorado wildlife issue other than the federal issue.
Basically, I think it means that the feds can trump our laws when they're listed. If they're delisted, then we don't have to worry about them trumping our laws.
At least not to the extent that we do.
Yeah.
Because if they're on the endangered list, and that's not only wolves, but about anything, including toads and salamanders and everything else, it really limits what you can do within the state in order to make changes as far as habitat and all of that.
We don't have salamanders.
I hope not.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Melissa, will you please call the roll?
Gates.
Aye.
Overton.
Aye.
O'Hare. Aye. Number 4, other business, line item A, county commissioner updates. I want to go first.
Oh, sure. Met with a lot of different departments and talked about a lot of different things. Airport stuff, of course, AG&C meetings, a lot of legislation going on. And that's about all that I got done.
Yeah, I had a pretty quiet week. It was spring break for my kids, so I tried to take a little bit of time with them, but did meet with staff on some various topics, and yesterday met with Dana from DOLA.
Thank you. I actually was a little busy. I attended the Inflation Reduction Act meeting, and what it came down to is the way that they advertised it was, how is this going to impact you and your community? Well, it wasn't about that. It was about grants, what grants are out there for green energy. I mean, that's what it came down to, and just what at the federal level, the different grants that they have available to that. The only one not listed that they will, they have grants on is nuclear power. That's the only one that they will not support as far as going forward. Everything else, I mean, you name it, they're for it. I met with Callie with the Soil Conservation District. We'll be talking about this a little bit later. Back at the work session, had a single entry point meeting with DHS and Public Health. Potentially, if we're looking at that program, and we'll talk about that further with during the work session. I'm on the CTSI board and had my first meeting with them, which was interesting to hear insurance-wise the different counties and how it impacts us as far as costs. I sit on there's 2 different boards. The one that I sit on is for workman's comp, and just how much it costs the counties or CTSI who's paying those. Just the breakdown of that was interesting. Attended a behavioral health meeting with Dr. Medlock, just going over again them trying to change regions, which I have a hard time wrapping my head around all these different regions that the state keeps throwing at us, and depends on what program you're in, and it's like, just choose one region for everything. It just stop messing with us, but that's not how this meeting ended, which was frustrating, but that's the state. So, and then met with staff as well, and that was pretty much my update. Moving on to public hearings, which we have none, and line item 6.
Yep. Madam Chairman, I move to go into executive session pursuant to 24-6-4024E CRS, determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations regarding maintenance and development projects for various county facilities.
I'll second that.
I have a motion, a second, and so moving into executive session, Melissa, will you please call the roll?
O'Hare.
Aye.
Overton.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we will adjourn, and then we will convene later for the Rio Blanco County Board of Health after we're done with executive session. And we'll give you the